Welcome into episode 13 of Going the JC Route. We are definitely going the JC route this week after taking a week off. Who the hell do we think we are? This is your host, JC. I'm with the Birdman. AJ Brock is off doing something. What a slacker. Yeah, we took a week off. Shit happens. I know. I get it. Calm down. But man, has a ridiculous amount of stuff in the sports world happened since we talked last. The biggest of all, I would argue, happening 12 hours ago.
Morning. This morning. And actually, yeah, it happened. Started it last night.
The college football Lord and Savior, our pirate, our favorite coach. That's not the coach of our team.
One of
Mr.
the
Mike
greatest
Leach.
personalities ever.
Coach Mike Leach. My goodness, that was I have to say, originally, I didn't really think much of it. I find it a hard time to get upset about people dying, but I'll be honest. The more I thought about it, and the more stories and videos I saw, and I was just like, man, this is hard.
Yeah. Sucks.
It's one of those people where when he's not the coach of your favorite team, you don't think about it as much. But then you start realizing how much he's in the media, and for good reasons, not for some scandal stuff.
For odd reasons on top of that.
Man, like him arguing who would win in a fight between all the Pac-12 mascots, is one of my favorite clips ever. I still don't know what mystical powers a Sun Devil has. Did we ever find out?
I'm sure. I've never found out what kind of powers they have.
Man,
But
true.
You may never know.
But and then anytime somebody says Mike Leach, the first picture I see in my head is that interview he was doing. Might have been SEC Media Days a couple years ago or something, where he has the siren on his phone and he pulls it out and just starts playing the siren through the microphone. That's one of my favorite memes to use in a lot of situations.
Well, mine is the candy corn.
Oh man,
reference. Though I hate candy corn and start talking about his favorite candies, but also when Texas Tech beat Texas.
Michael Crabtree
That's
lives in infamy forever. He's excuse me. That's one of those games that sticks on his resume forever. And
but yes,
excuse me, hold on. Excuse me, I didn't want to put that in the microphone. Yeah, and everybody knows he'll be remembered for Texas Tech. But the people he impacted off the field more than on the field is ridiculous. Because you have coaches now that either coach with him now or coach with him before, and they'd go to bat for him any day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Oh shoot! I lost my train of thought. Continue. Now I'll find it.
I think I have to say one of my favorite actual football stories from Mike Leach is from the one season he was at OU. Do you know the Texas game story?
I literally heard about it this morning because I was watching. I was just I was down and I was just scrolling through Twitter and Facebook and whatever, just seeing all the memorials on him, and that was one that popped up. It's actually pretty funny.
Mean, dude's awesome, and I know he's not going to be remembered as an OU coach, but that doesn't matter. The fact that you're brilliant enough to admit hey, Texas is the better team this season, so let's try to get a jump on them. And the fact you draw up a play sheet that is fake,
it's brilliant.
And then orchestrate.
You're not going to get away with it. It's brilliant.
I mean, literally, he draws up a fake script of 10 to 12 plays or however many it was, and then you have a player jog by the Texas sideline and happen to have it fall out of his hand or pocket for them to find it.
It's
and then
super brilliant.
Them to turn around and call the defense based on that play script. And OU jumped out big. I think I may be mistaken, but they might have lost that year. Anyway.
But I mean, they went up 17-0 at one point, and I mean, just based on that, I mean, you had a chance to beat that Texas team. But I think the thing that I
went up big. I feel like we lost that game still.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You.
That was 1999. Yeah, 38-28 Texas. Crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. But I think the thing I'll remember the most about him, besides the Texas Tech and the candy corn thing, is just where he won at. Like nobody's ever won it. Nobody's ever won at Texas Tech. Nobody's won at Washington State, and it looks like he was turning Washington or Mississippi State into something very good. So going to just the oddest places to win. I kind of feel like that just embodies who he was as a person. Just the strangest, got super smart, but like just quirky, and he went to quirky places. And
you're spot on. Dude was one of the quirkiest guys, but his willingness to just talk with people and spend time with people, give people the time of day is really unheard of these days. I mean, just the amount of stories of people saying, "Hey, let me walk to work with you," or "Hey, let me interview you," and every interview is like a normal person, not a coach.
Like it's like an uncle or your uncle, or just like it's like your uncle or something that just happens to be a coach.
He's that drunk uncle that you see at all the holiday parties, and
but
you absolutely adore him.
But he actually has like 2 master's degrees, and he's also an innovator of an offensive style that is very predominant in today's college football.
He was,
I
mean, just the brilliance and the type of coach you have to be to coach at the places he's coached. I mean, Texas Tech, Washington State, and Mississippi State, those aren't world beater institutions. But for him to be able to put a bunch of 3-star recruits and misfits together to good enough to have a consistently 8-4 program every year.
Well, he was 11-1 and not 11-1. I think his last year at Washington State. And then, like, who knows where Texas Tech
that was the year
goes?
That they went to Pullman game they did.
Who knows where Texas Tech goes if he's not fired? If he stays, like, who knows where he goes?
I don't know.
If Texas Tech does. Yeah, I mean, what ifs or whatever, but like, I mean, winning at quirky places was.
Have you looked through his coaching tree?
I know Heupel's in there.
Without Mike Leach, there's no Josh Heupel. There's no Lincoln Riley. There's no Cliff Kingsbury. There's no Dave Aranda.
Art Briles.
There's no Art Briles. There's no Sonny Dykes. There's no Sonny Cumbie. There's no Neil Brown. There's no Dana Holgerson. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's all these really, really, really good college coaches that come from his madness. And the impact that he's left on the sport of college football is going to be difficult if if impossible to replicate.
Which is unfortunate. Like in a college football world where your head coach is just this uber serious, very basic person. You had Mike Leach, who would talk about candy corn and who the best mascot is, and just this, the strangest, most weirdest places you could go. But it was wonderful to hear him talk about all these different things because, like I said, it felt like a normal person who was a coach.
I'll tell you what, I want to read his book.
I may never. It's a very sad day.
Have you read his book yet?
I haven't.
Apparently, it goes from being super, super deep into mentality and like philosophy to talking about the character arcs on Seinfeld. Like, who does that?
Only one man in the entire world.
And here's another thing. Did you hear about the class he taught at Washington State?
No.
So a couple years ago, I think it was like right before COVID or something. I remember because I was still in college when he did it, and he was teaching a class at Washington State. Like, he's the professor, and the class subject was football and how it compares and fits in with the art of war.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I will spend all my money, all my net worth to attend that class. Because I'll tell you what, he'd be the type of person who's like, I'm not giving you any tests because I don't want to grade it.
Yeah.
But just to listen to him rant and tell stories for 2 to 3 hours a week, that's priceless.
Just to hear him talk for a few minutes in front of you, just to have a one-on-one conversation for like 15 minutes with him would have been amazing to have. But in turn, like, this is probably the worst loss since when we lost Kobe, and to me, in general. Well, there's the Green Ranger. there was the Green Ranger for me, but as well. But
I think
they both happened in this.
It's difficult because Kobe was one of those transcendent athletes that reverberated across the world, across countries, across backgrounds. Mike Leach is a little bit more nuanced than that, but it's definitely a significant loss within.
I said personally, like for me, like yeah, as far as international goes, yeah, it's not even close. People outside the U.S. don't even know who Mike Leach is. But for me personally, well, besides Tommy the Green Ranger, this is the worst loss since Kobe.
It was definitely unexpected. I mean, 61.
The reports, when I first read the report, it was like he went to the hospital for an unspecified medical reason, and I was like, oh, like I was thinking it was like maybe some kind of sickness like pneumonia or something, and he'd get over it. And
I know that rumor was floating around that he had pneumonia.
And then I read somewhere yesterday that he had a heart attack and it caused brain damage. And when I read that, I was like,
oh boy.
there's a very small chance that he like honestly, I feel like would have been the type of person that could have been able to get past that. Obviously he didn't, but yeah, I kind of came to grips with it yesterday before I went to sleep, and then AJ texted me and he was just like, dude, or he was like, bro. And then I saw it and I didn't cry, but it's been honestly, the weather was really crappy this morning, and it resembled how I feel and how the entire college football world feels right now.
It's difficult to put in words. I haven't cried yet, but there's been a couple times where I've been like, yeah, it really sucks. It's not a fun topic to talk through. Dude, I totally forgot about the fat girlfriends clip.
Which one?
The fat girlfriends clip. There's a clip out there. Let me see if I can find it. Back when he was in Texas Tech, and I think he was talking about recruiting and how like the girlfriends win, and it's just talking about the fat girlfriends, and I can't. Let me see if I can find it. Funny clip, dude. Just funny clip. Dang. Come on. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Tell me if you can hear this. Because I want to be up for everybody to hear it.
I can't hear it.
I'm not playing it yet.
Is it playing?
Here we go.
Then we failed to make our coaching points and our points more compelling than their fat little girlfriends. Now, their fat little girlfriends have some obvious advantages. For one thing, their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are and how easy it's going to be, and how we had a whole bunch of people. Everybody wanted to win the football game, but nobody wanted to play the football game. Well, that defies every level of work ethic that exists with regard to football. And as coaches, we have to solve our failure on reaching them, and the players have to listen. And I'm willing to go to fairly amazing lengths to try to make that happen. I don't know if I'll be successful this week or not, but I am going to try, and there will be some people inconvenienced, and if it happens to be their fat little girlfriends, too bad.
Hello?
Fat little girlfriends. I'm just gonna leave it at that, dude. I don't think anything else needs to be said. Innovative, loved, brilliant.
One of the most interesting people in college football history.
If not
college football.
I say one of, if not the most interesting man in the world, because truly, truly one of a kind, and it just doesn't come around like that anymore. It just doesn't.
You definitely don't get that.
Enough of that. Let's talk about something. No, we definitely don't get that anymore. But I think it'd be fun to talk about something a little bit different. Boy, oh boy.
Speaking of
boy, oh boy. What the hell is Chris Beard doing?
Getting himself fired, I'm assuming. I mean, I haven't seen the entire thing. I don't know exactly what happened, the entire story behind it, but
nobody really does.
It's not good.
I was listening to somebody talk about the police report in the file affidavit. Apparently, they were arguing. Him and his girlfriend were arguing, and she broke his glasses. And they went into different rooms or something like that. And then he came back in there and was upset about it. A little bit more fighting went on. Like, she's like, I can get you new glasses, blah, 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 blah. You need new ones anyway, something like that. And then it came down to him putting his arm around her neck and something like that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't read the police affidavit myself, so I can't really speak on it much. But from what I hear, the term strangulation can be anything from what you imagine with that term to just like putting your hand over somebody's mouth and nose.
I mean, only time will tell what happens. But this is a very critical time in Texas basketball right now, because I mean they're what? Well, they lost last week, but they're
one of, if not the best. They're one of the best teams in the country, with him as coach.
Oh yeah.
Yes. They have multiple 5 stars on their team. They're recruiting really, really well. I think they signed 2 5 stars in this cycle, and for next season. And they may try to get released depending on what happens. Because here's the thing: you can't go to these recruits right now who are asking, well, hey, what's going on? And you can't say, oh, it's fine, he's going to get acquitted, or hey, it's going to go away, or hey, he's going to be back, because we don't know that yet. And if you do, something fishy's going on.
Like you said, nobody was there. Somebody told their side of the story. Somebody else has to tell their side of the story, and then we'll find out in time what the actual verdict is. Hopefully without any controversy. But it's a trying time, as if you're there and you're a fan of their basketball team and you love how much they've been playing well. And
I have to admit, as an OU fan, this is fun.
Did you enjoy Saturday, by the way?
I didn't watch it. I was working, dude. From what I hear, it was a little sketch, but I didn't
mean sketch.
We had 0 free throws in the first half. 0 of 0. Come on.
I'd have to go back and watch the first half to see
honestly, I expected it, because Arkansas is way more talented than we are. To be fair, we played a pretty good game, but
it was a great game.
Arkansas's talent and length is very, very apparent from what I hear. We just need another year or two recruiting and getting better shooters. That's the thing. We can play defense. We can pass the ball. We can do all that gritty stuff. We can't score with the best for shit. And that's going to be our downfall the rest of the way, unless we can turn every game into a rock fight, which is hard to do with the better teams in the country. Then we're not going to win all the games, because we can't score the best.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like, and you have a little bit more size, but when we first hired Eric Musselman, defensively our first year, we were pretty good, but we couldn't get to boards because our tallest guy was 6'7". So it definitely it affected the way we played, and but y'all also have fairly good shooters, which allowed y'all to take the lead.
You literally just said the opposite of what I said.
What?
I literally just said we cannot score the basketball, and you just said a good shooter.
Yeah, y'all had shooters early in the first half. I watched like you have shooters, but the thing is that over time, whenever you're shooting, like if you're shooting from the 3-point line, there's only so many shots you're going to be able to make, and over time, Oklahoma couldn't make those shots. The first half, it looked like they were hitting a fairly decent amount of 3-pointers and being able to make jump shots. But in the second half, that kind of went away. And they couldn't hit shots. It's not how you hit. It's not when you hit shots. It's not how you hit that you're hitting shots. It's when you're hitting shots. Anyways, we just went on a completely tangerine from Texas.
Yeah, is what it is. Naturally, we want to talk about our teams, but this I have a feel is going to be a problem for Texas. Not just now and in this basketball season, but moving
in the
forward.
future.
Because
it could benefit us. It could benefit us because Eric Musselman likes to get his transfers.
Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. Sorry about that. My dog's in my room and she's having a coughing fit. So
that's what I heard.
Yeah, I had to let her calm down for a little bit. What were you saying about Eric Musselman?
Oh, that he just likes to get his transfers in, and I saw a post where it was like, that meme where it's like this behind with that black dude behind the tree.
Yeah,
it was that, but with Eric Musselman's face on
it. Twitter and memes are undefeated. Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't followed too much college basketball, but I'll tell you what. This has been typically a football podcast, I would say, yeah?
Yep, but so, I mean, we're a little bit off on that.
That said, I think something that would be a little bit more fun to talk about would be the transfer portal, as that has been an absolute whirlwind of mess the last couple days.
Yeah, it has. I mean, where do you even begin? I mean, we had two key guys. I mean, I don't even know what we're getting come whenever we play our bowl game, because I feel like half our team is left.
Yeah, I mean, same. We've had a bunch of people into the portal, and the rest have
gone. Whether it was transfer portal or draft. Yeah.
Meanwhile, and I know Oklahoma specifically, all of Florida State's players are saying, "Hey, we're playing in the bowl game." So we get to play against Jordan Travis and Jared Verse and all their guys. And I'm just like, oh boy, here we go. This isn't going to be pretty. But
that's honestly how I feel whenever we play when we play Kansas.
I'll tell you this, though. As of yesterday, Oklahoma got a massive commitment from the best edge player in the portal as it stands.
Oh, really?
Mr. Hassan McCullough. He was borderline 5-star coming out of high school, I want to say. Let me see. Yeah, he was borderline 5-star coming out of high school. He's from Indiana. He went to Indiana and was freshman All-American there. And he is every bit of 6'5", 230. Playing edge, and Venables actually wants him to play the cheetah position for us.
I think for me, sorry.
Also, the Isaiah Simmons spot. He wants him to play that.
Yeah.
I'll say more than that, though. He has a younger brother, Daya McCullough, who is also a 4-star safety in this incoming class, and he committed to us as well. So that was really fun.
I think the most uplifting thing for Arkansas is KJ Jefferson, announcing that he's going to continue playing football for Arkansas, which is huge, especially after everything that has gone on. I mean, we've signed a couple guys from the transfer portal as well, but nothing to that point. I don't think nothing to that extent. But I mean, the thing is that you can look at this, negatively, because you said you lost your guys, and Arkansas lost a lot of guys. But at the same time, what it takes away, it gives as well, because not everybody's going to be able to go to the same team. So you just have to see what you can get out there, and hopefully what you get is good and can help elevate the teams that we are fans of.
But I have to say here, among the transfer portal, dude, there's just so many players that were either highly recruited out of high school and have just been mediocre in college, or haven't gotten to play at all. So the question for teams become: do we recruit them based on their upside and their potential? We saw them as a prospect, or do we go based off what they've shown in college? Because there's players like Denver Harris that came from Texas A&M, who's I think is like the number one rated recruit in the transfer portal right now. Yeah, he is. And I mean, elite 5-star coming out of high school, but has not done much at Texas A&M. And then at that, there's rumors of him being a locker room cancer. So it's like,
oh, that's gross.
Why do we want to recruit him? Yes, he has incredible upside, but if he's not going to fit in, what's the point? You know, so I'm sure some team will say, yes, come play for us.
Mm-hmm. There's always room for, if you're super talented, there's always room for somebody to come and try and snatch you because they think they can help. But I think to answer that question, like, I mean, you have to look at, I mean, it depends on who the player is and how much playing time he got on the field. Almost said pitch. Like if it's a guy that's like a freshman and he got minimal playing time, you look at what he was able to do coming out of high school. But if it's like guy second year in, you look at what he's done on the field. You can't base a guy's talent on what he did in high school if he's played in college.
Yeah, I just have a bad feeling. I have a very bad feeling that a lot of these players that are coming out are not going to have a place to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that at some point they need to get a hold of this and they need to make rules to this because
so they have to an extent.
But I'm talking about you have guys that have been in the transfer portal that have transferred like 2 or 3 times. It's like you've got to because you're unhappy and you have to ride the bench doesn't mean you have to go transfer. Like sit it out and actually work your tail off to be whatever you want to be.
Well, so here's the problem:
quarterback or running back.
Here's the problem: I don't have a problem with the one-time free transfer rule because if for whatever reason the school you commit to out of high school has something like a coaching change or something egregious happens, that gives you an out, right?
Yeah.
But because you've matched that free transfer rule with NIL, now we have free agency like we're seeing right now, right? So we've got coaches having to recruit their own players, even when they're still on their roster, so they don't try to go in the transfer portal to go somewhere else, right? Because you have scumbag coaches like Lincoln Riley out there recruiting your players. Like there's literally been rumors of, I mean, obviously we know what happened with Jordan Addison, right? Like, dude, come on. But there's like rumors of Lincoln Riley actively recruiting Xavier Worthy.
I've definitely heard those.
Like, dude, this is a problem. So, I mean, they have put some restrictions in place, like you can only enter it in certain times. But if they're going to allow this free transfer thing, they've got to really enforce the second transfer where you have to sit out a year. I mean, unless you're a grad transfer, then I get that, because I have seen it a couple times where somebody uses their one free and they graduate the following year and then they transfer again. And I'm like, well, you can't really do much about that, right? Because you get a free transfer as a graduate. But these players who are transferring after their freshman year, and then because they're still unhappy, they're transferring after their sophomore year. Like, you've got to make them sit out a year to prevent that or something.
That's what I'm saying, because it's like, dude, like. I
was like, don't get me wrong, because I think the transfer portal is a good thing, because I think a lot of what we've seen this year is a lot of the talent's been spread out a little bit more. So there's a little bit more parity. I mean, like we saw it with TCU this year, and don't look now, but they are hot in the transfer portal, or they will be when the players announce.
Well, I mean, the 11-1 season surely helps for sure in that process.
For sure.
But yeah, no, it's one of those things that I'm on the fence about, because on one hand it's crazy and it just ruins continuity in football teams, I feel like, at times. But on the other hand, I mean, yeah, it makes it to where it's so wide open for a team like a TCU to come out and be 11-1 and have a chance to go play for national championship. And then, it makes it even more more interesting whenever you consider in about a year or two you're going to have 12 teams vying for that spot, that's shot at a national championship.
Speaking of which, how much fun would it have been to see like a USC have to travel to Fort Worth in the first round? Or no, USC would have had to travel to like Manhattan, Kansas or something in the first round of the playoffs.
Like it's so like it'll be so much fun, because like most of the time whenever you get these really cool really cool one-off matches, like I don't know, Utah, Florida or something like that, like you get them. I mean, that game was in Florida, I think, but most of the time you get them at like AT&T Stadium, or you get them at Georgia Dome.
Site,
like you get, yeah, it's most of the time it's a neutral site, but like with this playoff, like now you get to actually go and see, like you said, like a USC go to Fort Worth, or USC go to Manhattan, or Alabama, or somebody had to travel to Alabama, or somebody had to travel to Georgia, or somebody, or having to travel up into the Big Ten country and play in the cold, because that's never really happened for an SEC school.
Yeah, like USC having to travel to Happy Valley in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes.
Good luck in December.
I mean, and I mean that really evens it out, because like I've said, like most of the bowl games are down here, or down in the South. So like if you're playing a big time game, well, it's going to be down here. Well, if you're playing in a playoff, well, you might have to go up to Michigan to beat them. And it's, I don't know what the temperature is, but I'm sure it's not sleepless weather right now.
It's not fun. But it's one of those things that you hear the argument, oh, well, increasing the playoff decreases the value of the regular season, and only if you look at it a specific way. But so for example, the biggest example I hear is Ohio State Michigan, the last game of the year. Think of how big that game was at the end of the year, because winners in, right? Yeah. Losers thought to be out. Turns out, because of other stuff happening, they both got in, right? So it ended up not mattering anyway. But instead of saying, hey, this game is for being in, being out, now just change your frame of reference to, well, hey, this is for a bye. This is for seeding.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, if you win, you're probably getting a bye. Or hey, if you lose, now you're going to have to travel somewhere in the first round of the playoff. Who doesn't want to do that?
Exactly. Like it still matters. I think it matters a little bit less, because if you're in the playoffs, you might be like, and you're far enough ahead, you might be like, okay, let's just sit the guys out. But like, I'm so like, you have no idea how excited I am to see 12 teams in the playoffs.
Because realistically now, realistically, right? How many teams are realistically going to win it, right? One, maybe two or three, regardless, right? But now think of it. Instead of having just those top 5 or 6 teams every year vying for those 4 spots, now think of every year what happens between rankings 8 to 20. You have 3 times as many teams just trying to get in.
Yeah, and you have teams that have chances of shocking the world. I mean, it's a different sport, and I think it's vastly different. But like, you see March Madness every year, something crazy happens, and all it takes is that one bad game from a team, and you've got a situation like, Appalachian State, Michigan, or many years ago, obviously not a playoff game, but you get these crazy upsets, and it's different when it's 12 teams versus the same 4 teams just about every year, give or take 1 or 2 teams.
And who doesn't like more football, right? More than anything, this is an opportunity for more big brand games where, like, for example, right, USC plays Penn State, right? You don't get that very often with a 14 playoff. That would have probably happened this year in a 12-team playoff. Or now you've got Kansas State playing Utah, right? That's a fun-ass game. I'm watching that game, right? Stuff like that. You don't get to see. We're probably still going to end up with the same 4 teams, but now there's more opportunity for something else to happen.
And there's a chance. All I care about is the chance to prove a team wrong. And what was it whenever UCF won that quote unquote championship? Was that 2019?
2017.
Was it 2017? You give them the opportunity to say that they lost. You give somebody that opportunity to say they lost, and don't give them a reason to believe that they should have won a championship, because who knows what happens if they make it to the Final Four. So now you get the chance to prove that you either belong or that you didn't belong from the very beginning.
But that's what makes it so much more fun. That's just what makes it so much more fun.
And honestly, it should go up to like 25 because they do that in Division.
I don't know about that.
They do that in FCS.
I'd like to see it at 16, so it's a true bracket with no buys. Well, no, honestly, I think it's good where it's at because think about it. Georgia playing a 16th ranked Coastal Carolina. Yeah, okay. We know that's gonna be a blowout, right?
16th ranked Tulane. 16th
but
ranked
think about
Tulane.
This way, right? What's the 5-12 game this year? USC and
5-12?
Tulane.
5-12?
It's literally USC and Tulane. That game's gonna be a ton of fun. And you know what?
Yeah.
Tulane might go off and haul off and beat Lincoln Riley. They damn near did it last year. I remember sweating my ass off during that game. Like, what the hell's going on? And they're that much better this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyjae Spears is legitimately going to run for a mile on Lincoln Riley's defense. Games like that are fun, right? Because then guess what happens? The winner of that game gets to go play freaking Ohio State. Well, guess what? Now in a semifinal, you get to see USC play Ohio State. Game you want to see anyway. This year, you don't get to see that. But now you get to see Lincoln Riley go play Ryan Day because they earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because they deserve to be on the top 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
But that's enough ranting. Sounds like we're gonna get it not next year, the year after. It sounds like
2024.
The 2024 football season. Yeah.
It
so the first year Oklahoma and Texas are in the SEC. Sick.
Welcome to the SEC.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get a year of playing Cincinnati and BYU and crap like that. So I think that'll be fun, actually.
Wait, are they coming in next year?
Oh yeah, 2023, baby.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Actually, that'll be really interesting. I think BYU comes to us next year.
I heard a rumor that Oklahoma's going to travel to Cincinnati this next season. Not confirmed yet, but I heard it. I'm waiting for them to release the schedule. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Well, their head coach went to
Luke Fickell went to Wisconsin.
That's what it was, yeah.
And then Louisville got their wish. They got Scott Satterfield out. But he went to Cincinnati.
I mean, we'll see how Cincinnati fares when they go to the Big 12. Do we go into Cowboys? Talk about what happened there.
You know,
do we need alcohol?
I didn't really have it planned as a segment, but let's do this. We've been going 45 minutes onto an hour. Let's go into parting shots. And I have a feeling you want to talk about the Cowboys.
Parting shots. I mean, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. It was they started off slow.
Are you surprised?
Huh?
But are you surprised?
Not really. I was surprised by how hard hitting the Texans were. I mean, they truly came out and were just forcing them to make catches that were not comfortable. I mean, that first hit by Petrie on James Washington hurt me. Like, I felt like I needed an ice bath after that. But I mean, look, if you really feel like you're a contender, that's a game you come out and you win handily. Maybe you struggle a little bit, but you don't have it come down to the last second drive or the last drive of the game to win. Like that does not make me feel comfortable at all that this team truly has what it takes. Honestly, I don't think they have what it takes because if they believed in that, they would have started in the off season and not had the worst off season ever.
I didn't think they had a terrible off season. They didn't do what you and Aiden wanted them to do, but I didn't think it was terrible. And turning out Tyler Smith is a really good draft pick. And hey, look,
he was a really good draft pick.
T.Y. Hilton.
I just feel like they didn't do enough to. I mean, but the thing is that on the other hand, like, I mean, and we've talked about this as well. Like, who is out there that really stands above everybody else in the NFC? And the honest question,
I don't think they're going to lose another game at this rate. They're so good.
They look like by far the best team in the NFC.
I mean, they are right now by 2 games.
Yeah. But
there's 4 to play.
Unless you face them in the.
Other than the Cowboys, who do the Eagles play the rest of the season?
Nothing too stressful.
Let me see. They play Bears. They play at Bears, at Cowboys, Saints at home, Giants at home.
Yeah.
Yuck.
They at the very worst, they probably go 3-1. So
the Cowboys are going to come 1 game short of winning the division, and we're going to have to go to Tampa Bay for a playoff game. God damn it. Or the freaking 13-4 Cowboys are going to have to travel to the 8-9 Bucks or Falcons. Shoot.
Look, if we lose that game.
And guess what that means? What?
I said if we lose.
You know what that means, right?
What?
We get it assuming we're the 5th seed, right? And we have to travel to like the Bucks or the Falcons, whoever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know who we get to play in the second round, right?
Filthy.
The motherfucking Eagles. So, yep. God damn it. We can't escape it.
But
all we can do is hope and pray the Eagles lose one other game, and then the Cowboys can beat them on Christmas Eve. That's all we can hope.
That just means that either I don't know, Chicago. I mean, New York looked like
New York looked awful with Saquon not 100%. The Bears, they're supposed to be getting Justin Fields supposed to be healthy. Their defense is
and
awful.
the other important part, we have to win out.
Yeah. I mean, other than the Eagles, that's not a tall task though.
It's not. But I mean,
we literally have at Jacksonville, Eagles at home, at Tennessee, at Commanders.
Well, if that's the case,
I'm not scared.
Well, if that's the case, then we cannot have what happened against the Texans. We cannot come out as slow as we did. We have to come out immediately and hit and score. I mean, and actually, we did that on the first drive, but we have to do that on more than just the first drive. But I mean, if that's the case, then you just have to come out and look like you belong there, and not look like you sleptwalk through the Texans.
They did. They definitely sleptwalked through that game. They still pulled it out. It has to be the most frustrating thing in the world to play to your opponent. I feel like we've had this conversation a lot about the University of Texas football. They play to their opponent, good and bad, which is super frustrating because the Cowboys should blow the Texans out. It should have been 40-0, but because we got
honestly
and asleep at the wheel, we had to sweat our ass off to pull it out at the end. Well, guess what? We're playing another mediocre team this coming week. Guess how we're probably going to play? Mediocre. And that doesn't give me very much confidence coming into Christmas Eve against the Eagles. What are we doing?
Nope. Like, I mean, it's like, are you going to play like this the rest of the way?
I mean, that's the way we get bounced in the first round, every other year.
Oh my gosh!
So
yep.
I'm starting to get PTSD of these flashbacks that seem to happen every year, and I'm
saying as
I'm continuously disappointed, but I'm never surprised anymore.
I'm staying as far away as I can from any expectations of however far we get into the playoffs, because I've seen that way too often with this team where they get your hopes up and then they just shoot it right down. And
Super Bowl or bust, baby.
It's definitely a bust.
Bust. But I don't think much else needs to be said there. I'll tell you what though, the T.Y. Hilton signing is interesting.
Yeah, I figured if they didn't get OBJ, they were going to get that, and honestly, I'd much rather have.
Think about it this way: who was one of the other teams that was in on OBJ?
Well, you had the Giants, and then you had the Bills.
Well, Bills signed Cole Beasley.
And I was going to get to that, which I found super interesting because what did he get? He get fired from there, or he quit? He quit or something?
He resigned because he refused to get his vaccine when it was required in the state of New York.
And then he signed with the Buccaneers. Then he retired.
Now he's back.
And then he's. Yeah, but
I think what was the last straw for both of the teams was both teams knew they wanted another receiver, but after doing the medical exams with OBJ, it came out he's realistically not going to be 100% healthy until the playoffs. And then also his mindset is he doesn't even want to play until the playoffs. So I'm like, so the teams are like, how are we supposed to get into a rhythm with you and build chemistry if you're not even going to be ready to play and or practice as a team into the playoffs? And so that's why people are like, yeah, we'll just pass. We'll go get the next best thing. And to be fair, I was a fan of T.Y. Hilton back in his day.
I found it interesting.
Before he didn't have a quarterback anymore.
I think it'd be interesting. I mean, you're not expecting him to come and revive a receiving room. I mean, it's a. I mean,
he's going to be the fifth receiver, or the sixth receiver. Yeah. He's going to be behind Lamb, Gallup, Brown,
Washington,
James Washington, and
he might be your fifth.
Fifth to go along with Kevontae Turpin, probably.
And then you got your tight ends. Like it's a nice signing in case it gives you depth for sure. It gives you depth for hands. But I mean, you talk about your tight ends. You talk about you got.
And the contract for T.Y. Hilton was great. He's only on $600,000 plus bonus.
It's a much better. It's much better than.
OBJ would have taken $1 million or $2 probably.
And then you would have had to deal with him 2 years and who knows what would have happened at the moment he steps on the football field because of what happened not even a year ago.
I don't want that shitty. I never really bought into having that shit eater on my team anyway.
I found it was not, if you weren't going to do anything in the offseason, I felt like it was going to be the next best thing. But once I heard the reports of his medical and stuff, I was just like, nope. And on top of that, like the contract he wanted, I was like, that's not going to work either. I don't want 2 years with the guy who just you don't even know if he's healthy or not from last February. So, it's kind of sucks, I think.
I didn't realize this. Today, so this is completely off topic, but today, the United States Department of Energy achieved nuclear fusion.
Oh, wow.
Which, what we've been doing is nuclear fission, which is basically the reverse of fusion because it takes a lot less energy to do fusion. And that's the reason why we haven't done it before with fusion. It's just taking so much energy to put it in. The return wasn't very good. But now it sounds like they developed a more energy efficient way so that achieving fusion is valuable long term. So that's big time. But that's off topic, and this is a sports podcast, so I'm going to leave it there. I'll be honest, I don't really have much to say. I've done a lot of talking. Too much stuff has gone on. The Cowboys disappoint us as always. The transfer portal is being a lot of fun and difficult. Chris Beard, dude, what the hell are you doing? You just cost yourself a career. And then once again, Mike Leach, thank you for your service. Thank you for all you've done for the sport of college football. Thank you for your coaches, minus Lincoln Riley, loser. Rest in peace. We'll love you forever. Anything else on our end? Anything else you want to say?
That's it. I don't have anything else. Rest in peace to the Pirate.
From the bottom of my heart, sorry again we missed a week. Let us hear it. We're back this time. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you next week, normal time. We'll see you when we see you. Deuces.
Goodbye.
Thank you.